Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. Please be aware that there will be no episodes for the following 2 days. We've got some work-related issues to deal with, but we will be back on the 1st of May. Stay with us and thank you for your understanding. My name is Artem and here is the news. For 794 days, Ukraine stands strong against the forces of the Russian invasion. In his evening video address, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky informed that yesterday Russia again conducted a missile attack against the civilian infrastructure of Ukraine. 34 Russian missiles of various types targeted the energy sector, the electricity grid, and the gas transit facilities. Quote, the trajectories of the missiles and the nature of the attack were calculated by the Russian terrorists in order to complicate the work of our air defense system as much as possible. Each missile downed today is a significant result, unquote. According to the General Staff, Ukraine's air defense managed to intercept 21 out of 34 missiles. The president thanked Ukraine's partners who have already helped Kyiv with air defense. He added that it is also important to implement new support agreements as soon as possible. Zelensky reminded that Ukraine needs 7 Patriot air defense systems and partners have them. Quote, Russian terrorists are aware that our partners, unfortunately, do not have the same determination to protect Europe from terror that they have demonstrated in the Middle East. However, it is still possible to provide the necessary quantity and quality of air defense systems. No time should be wasted, the necessary signal of determination must be sent, unquote. According to the head of state, power engineers and repair crews are working in the Lviv, Ivano-Frankivsk, Kharkiv and Dnipro regions. The tech energy company earlier informed that Russian missiles attacked 4 of its generation facilities and that there were wounded, including civilians, reports Slovo i Dilo. Australia announced that it will provide a new military aid package for Ukraine worth 100 million Australian dollars, which is around 65 million US dollars, reports Ukrinform. Australian Defence Minister Richard Marles, during his visit to Lviv, informed that 50 million Australian dollars of this package would be spent on short-range air defense systems, another 30 million on drones for the Ukrainian military, and 15 million on equipment including helmets, inflatable boats, gas masks and power generators. Marles emphasized that Australia will stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes for Kyiv to win this war, despite the understanding that this will be a long war. He stressed that Ukraine must win for its future and for peace in the world. Volodymyr Zelensky thanked Australia for the new support package. We would really appreciate if you could rate us, ideally with 5 stars, and leave a glowing review in the app where you are listening to this podcast, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, and others. This really helps more people to find out about the highlights from Ukraine and truth about Russia's invasion. The 47th Separate Mechanized Brigade of Ukraine's armed forces has dismissed as fake the report by Associated Press that Ukraine has withdrawn US-supplied Abrams tanks from the battlefield, reports Ukrainska Pravda. The media, citing US military officials, claimed that the Ukrainian defense forces had withdrawn the US-supplied Abrams tanks from the battlefield due to the threat of Russian drone attacks. Before that, the New York Times reported that Russian forces had taken out 5 M1 Abrams tanks out of 31 that were sent to Ukraine from the US last autumn. The New York Times said that drones can be used to take out these tanks. The brigade posted a screenshot of the story with a link to an Associated Press report, marking it fake. According to them, tanks perform well on the battlefield and, quote, we are definitely not going to hide something from the enemy that usually makes them hide themselves. Moreover, we are not going to leave our infantry without such powerful fire support, unquote. At the same time, the military reminded that they are not allowed to comment publicly on the purpose, location and equipment of the Ukrainian armed forces. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a commercial initiative of just 2 people and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.